What if Atlantis wasn't just an ancient myth? What if it was real? Say that again. Atlantis was real. Where would it be? How would we find it? And what would we find there? It turns out we may have already found it. In 2018, a massive marble street was discovered off the coast of Greece. It was 30 feet below sea level and nearly perfectly preserved. But it wasn't just any street. The marble was cut with unbelievable precision, and the road itself was designed with straight edges and right angles, which is impressive because the most advanced tools we had at that point were copper chisels. And while this could just be a coincidence, another discovery made in 2021 makes it much more likely that this really is part of the lost city of Atlantis. A team led by archaeologist Brendan Foley discovered an entire complex of structures made from bronze, huge pillars over 16 feet tall, arranged in a type of architecture far more advanced than anything else from the time period. They also found huge piles of debris made from coral and shells, crushed together so tightly they formed solid blocks of material. But what really caught their attention was that these buildings seemed to harness the power of the tides. Every 6 hours, the water would flow in and out of these structures, turning wheels that were connected to gears and other machines whose purpose we haven't yet deciphered. This seems like a pretty advanced form of technology, especially since we know the Atlanteans had access to incredible materials like orichalcum, a mythical metal so strong and durable it was said to be used for the Great Pyramid of Gold in the center of Atlantis. These machines might have been used to generate tidal power or perhaps even an early form of submarine. We also know that the Atlanteans had mastered crystal technology, which may have been used for lighting or perhaps even advanced medical equipment, since they were said to have had highly sophisticated medicine for their time. And the coolest part about all of this is that it doesn't exist in a vacuum. There are tantalizing hints that the Atlanteans had connections to other advanced cultures around the world. For example, we know that the ancient Egyptians kept detailed records of all their trades and resources. And one item they imported was said to be pure gold from a mysterious land across the sea, which some believe may have been Atlantis. We also note that the Atlanteans traded with the Minoans on the island of Crete and with the Maya in Central America. And many scholars believe that the Maya were the first to make contact with the Old World, arriving in the Atlantic about 2,000 years ago. Some say the Maya brought the Atlanteans new technologies and ideas, while others say the Atlanteans were already highly advanced and had achieved things like interstellar travel. In fact, there is evidence that the Maya and the Atlanteans shared certain symbols, including the double-headed eagle, which appears in both cultures thousands of miles away from each other. And recent DNA studies have traced certain genetic markers to the Atlantic Ocean, suggesting a migration from the Americas back to Europe around 1500 BC. All of this is extremely exciting because it suggests that Atlantis really existed and that the Atlanteans were a real people with a real culture and a real history. If we can rewrite history based on new discoveries, how would history change if Atlantis was real? Well, first off, our understanding of ancient seafaring would have to be completely revised. Most scholars agree that the Atlanteans were expert sailors and navigators who traveled all over the Mediterranean and even beyond. They may have even circumnavigated Africa, India, and Australia long before the rest of the world had developed the technology to do so. In fact, some believe that the Atlanteans were the first people to ever sail around the world. As for how the Atlantis sank, there are several theories. Some believe that it was caused by a mega-quake, while others believe it was the result of a volcanic event. However, a recent study published in Nature Communications suggests that rising seas may have been the real culprit. According to the study, rising seas caused by melting glaciers could have gradually drowned the island over a period of centuries, eventually causing it to sink beneath the waves. If this is true, then the sinking of Atlantis wasn't a sudden event, but rather a slow and inevitable process that eventually led to the destruction of the island and its civilization. So if the island did sink due to rising waters, what does that mean for us today? Well, it has a stark reminder of the dangers of climate change and the importance of protecting our coastal cities from rising seas. It also gives us a glimpse into the future, as underwater tourism is set to become one of the biggest industries in the world. In fact, it's estimated that by 2030, there will be over 1 billion underwater tourists worldwide, eager to explore the sunken wonders of Atlantis. Of course, there are also those who believe that the Atlanteans were far more advanced than we are and that their technology could change the world if only we could find it. There is a race underway to find these lost technologies, with some believing that the Atlanteans had already mastered anti-gravity or even time travel. However, there are also those who believe that the Atlanteans had a peaceful and harmonious society that we could learn a lot from today. They believed in the power of love and compassion and lived in a state of constant happiness. Whether or not Atlantis was real is still up for debate. However, one thing is certain, the discovery of such a site would change our understanding of human history forever. So what do you think? Was Atlantis real? And if so, what do you think we would find there? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.